To talk more about the vice president's decision to leave an NFL game in his hometown after some players from the opposing team kneeled during the national anthem. Joining us is Kurt Bardella. He's the former spokesman for Republican Congressman Darrell Issa and CNN political commentator Ben Ferguson. Kurt, after the vice president left that game, we learned a short time later that President Trump told Vice President Pence to leave if players protested. So this is clearly a fight the White House wants and one the president thinks he's winning.
Well, I mean, we saw this playbook before. When things are going bad in the White House, he kind of turns to this culture war to change the conversation, play to his base. This was a premeditated act. Mike Pence was going to do this. He knew what was going to happen. He knew that he was going to leave the game early. It's also an egregious waste of taxpayer dollars to spend the money to travel up there, do all the security precautions, and then leave early. But after spending the whole week defending why the president isn't a moron or why the Secretary of State called him that or didn't call him that, he's immediately looking to change the conversation. And in some degree, it's working because here we are talking about it instead of whether or not Donald Trump is a moron.
I'm curious to get your point, Kurt, because obviously this is an issue that resonates with the base. Ben is right that the majority of Americans, when polled, have sided on the side of the president in the sense they don't agree necessarily with kneeling during the national anthem, but those same polls have also said that the majority of Americans don't agree with the president telling those players they can't or shouldn't kneel.
Right. At the end of the day, people have a right to express themselves, and the best appreciation you can show for this country and for the people who have sacrificed everything for it is to exercise your right to be heard and exercise your right of freedom of expression. Just because the president and the vice president don't like the way that NFL players are expressing themselves doesn't mean they're wrong. It doesn't mean that they're enemies of America. It doesn't mean that they need to be made an example of and that they should be dictating to the NFL what their policy should be. I mean, I think a lot of the problem that American people have with President Trump's reaction to this is, doesn't he have better things to worry about right now, whether it's North Korea, whether it's the shooting, whether it's the hurricanes that have destroyed Puerto Rico and other parts of this country? Why is it that he spends his time sitting around and dictating by tweet when the reality is his entire administration is completely out of control? His cabinet is fighting with him. He's fighting with his cabinet. He's fighting with members of Congress. Why is it that he chooses these times to fight with the NFL?
Kurt, Senator Corker's chief of staff today gave this statement to our Ryan Nobles, again, after this back and forth in which the president had said that Corker basically was not going to get his endorsement, and that's why he has been working against the president. The president, in the statement we got from Corker's chief of staff, he says the president called Senator Corker on Monday afternoon and asked him to reconsider his decision to seek re-election and reaffirm that he would have endorsed him, as he has said many times. So who are we to believe, Kurt?
Well, there's no reason why Corker would lie about something like this. Trump has every reason to lie about it because he hates being made to look like he wasn't impactful. He hates being made to look like he didn't get done what he wanted to get done. And Corker, of course, since he's announced his retirement, he's been kind of liberated. He's been going around saying exactly what just about everybody in Congress and everywhere else thinks about Donald Trump, and Trump is hating that. So after a few days of that, Trump, of course, decides to act out and have a little Twitter tantrum for everyone to see, attacking Bob Corker. It's ironic because at the end of the day, if Trump is to succeed legislatively, he's still going to need people's votes, like Senator Corker. So I don't really see what the virtue is of going on an attack against Corker when he's going to still want him to support him.
Just out of curiosity, do you know what state Bob Corker's from?
Yeah, Tennessee. I spend a lot of time there. I go there once a month.
I do a radio show there, and that's literally where I have a house. So what you're saying about Bob Corker is just completely lost in reality. Bob Corker has been in serious trouble for a couple years now.
I didn't say anything about that, man. What I said was...
No, but you're acting like he was somehow shooing here.
What I said was that Corker... No, you interrupted me, so let me finish, man.
One at a time. One at a time. One at a time.
What I said was that Donald Trump said he would endorse him, and Trump is saying he didn't. That's all I'm talking about. I'm not saying whether Bob Corker was in political jeopardy. He probably was in political jeopardy. If he was going to get primary,
in massive political jeopardy.
And no one's denying. Ben, you're arguing a point that no one else is making here for the sake of just bloviating, because you love to do that, and that's fine and well, and that's your shtick, and I get that. But that's not what I'm saying, so don't interrupt me when you're trying to make a point that no one else is talking about.
All right, guys, got to leave it there. Kurt Bardella, Ben Ferguson, thank you for that passionate debate. I appreciate it. Still to